do your makeup, don't worry, class is in session. This is makeup 101, where I'm going to be teaching you how to do your makeup step by step. It's not that your makeup looks ugly, it's just that you don't know how to do it yet. I'm going to be sharing my tips and tricks on how to achieve this beautiful face. So let's get into it.
Certified quality. And that the girl them need and I cry for every day without apology. Walk them the right way, that's my policy. Shonda Paul alongside Beyonce. Now hear the man say.
Number one, we're going to go into our eyebrows. Different people like different types of eyebrows. There's a 2016 eyebrow, which is the full, more defined eyebrow, and then now 2025 people are more into natural looking eyebrows, but I like a combination of both, where my eyebrows are more filled in at the end compared to in the beginning. And then also, because I'm a bushy girl with bushy eyebrows, I like to use a wax gel more compared to the Got2b or your Satellite or any other gel. The only gel that has worked for me currently is the Essence Brow Gel. I have been using this brow gel for the past, I think, 6 months, close to 5 months now, and I haven't changed this. This is my second refill and I literally love it. My brows do stay on and hold on throughout the whole day when I have my makeup on, and even when I don't have my makeup on, because I tend to have very naughty eyebrows. They just blow all over with no sort of direction. What I normally do after brushing them up, I just shape them. So I just shape them the way I want them to look, the shape I want them to have. And with this Catrice micro pen, before I go in with my pencil, I'm going to go in with my powder puff that has just some excess powder on. With filling in your eyebrows, it all depends on how you want your eyebrows to look like. I'm going more of a natural look, so I'm going to start in the beginning and just draw a fine line. At the end, I'm going to fill it in more because I like my brow at the end to look more full compared to the front. So after my eyebrows are filled, I'm going to go in with the concealer that I love. I love this concealer so much. This is the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer in the shade 40. This concealer is literally my day one. I love it so much. This is like, I think, my third purchase, if I'm not mistaken, ever since I started doing my makeup. And I don't know if I'll ever get something probably better than this that is beginner friendly, because this is literally beginner friendly. When I started my makeup journey, this is the concealer that I was using and it has been working perfectly for me. Because I don't want my eyebrows to be too defined and we're going for more of a natural beginner friendly look, to carve out the end of your eyebrow. To carve out my eyebrows, I use this flat brow brush that I got from Shein. I'm going to link down different types of brushes that I bought from Shein that I'm still currently using and are quite affordable. Before I carve the top of my brows in the beginning, I like to go in with more of a fluffy brush just to brush off the concealer so that it doesn't quickly dry off. Now that your concealer is blended out, we're going to go in with our skincare and our primer. I went in with my skincare way before I started this makeup look. I used this serum, which has been treating my skin quite well. It just gives me this nice glow even when I don't have any makeup on. And then to moisturize my face, I saw this on TikTok and I just fell in love with it. And I was like, you know what, I need something that is going to be like a balm on my face, because I do makeup every now and then, and when I exfoliate it just becomes a lot and my skin just becomes so irritated and dry, and I do have more dry to combined skin, but more onto the dry side. So then I also use this face moisturizer. So I went in with all of that way before I started to do my makeup. So when it comes to primers, we have different types of primers. There's a hydrating primer, there's a mattifying primer, and there's a gripping primer. So here we have all three. This is more of a gripping primer from Essence. This is a Jelly Grip primer, which is also budget friendly. And then we have this Fit Me Luminous and Smooth primer, which is also budget friendly. And then we also have this matte luminous primer from Maybelline, which is also budget friendly. This makeup look, I'm going to be using these two, the glowing one and the gripping one. The gripping one, I'm going to go in more into my T-zones, which is where I'm going to apply my concealer, and then the rest is where I'm going to apply my foundation, my bronzer, my blush, and everything else. I have been using this primer for like at least good 8 months now, and I really love how my makeup turns out, how my skin turns out, especially because I have really sensitive skin. So also what's important when applying your makeup is to put a primer, and what's also important is when removing your makeup, you need to be really gentle as to how and what method you use to remove your makeup. If you're just one of those lucky girls that barely reacts to anything, no matter what it is that you put on your face doesn't react to it, then you are so lucky. But if you are like me and you easily react to your skin, when you rub it too much you get irritated, or just easily react to certain things, I feel like what's important, what I have learned to do, is to use a cleansing oil or a cleansing balm to remove my makeup, and that has helped quite a lot because now my skin is less irritated after I remove my makeup from a long day. Now we're moving to foundations and concealers. So I think I have about 5 different foundations, different brands that I'm currently using, but not all at once, because the same way that different primers do different things, the same way as different foundations do certain different things. So there are different types of foundations. This foundation, which is the one from Catrice, I'd rather use this on like an everyday look. I don't want to do too much because it gives you that glow, it gives you that skin-like finish, so you're not like trying to cover a lot of spots. You know, this needs more of clear girl skin, glowy, and coverage not necessarily on the best like that, because it just makes your skin glow and it just covers up the little imperfections that you would say as an individual you have. And then I have this Catrice Invisible coverage one. Now this one covers quite a lot. I also love this girl. This is good for when you also have marks and you're really trying to cover up your face, like you really don't want to show your little imperfections that you have. You really can go in with this one. The other one I have, which is my MAC Studio foundation, this is in the shade NW45. I think I've used this like less than 5 times ever since I've actually gotten it, because it has a little like orange undertone to it, but I really do love it, especially if I'm going for like a full glam look. I like the coverage it has. I don't have to stress way too much about the coverage of this foundation. Then my go-to girl, the girl that I love the most, is the Fit Me Maybelline in the shade 350. I use this girl always, my go-to. With my eyes closed, I always pick this girl. Then there are different brushes that you can use to apply your foundation. There's a flat brush that you can use to apply your foundation, which is to evenly spread out the foundation, or there's this more of an angled brush that you can also use for your foundation. I normally go for this one. This one is more of when I have a lot of time and, you know, I want to do a nice little glam look, and then I'm like, I want everything to just hold in. I'm about to have a hectic day. Because we're about to have a hectic day and this is just a beginner friendly look, we're going to go in with this brush. Spreading your foundation, it's just a tap in motion. Just keep on tapping and try not to do too much with the first layer. Just blend it in as much as you can before you decide if you want to add more foundation. When I'm doing my makeup, I don't like doing my eyeshadow at the end because I feel like it just keeps on just creasing more and more. So when I just sort it out, it's done and I don't have to stress about it. And you don't have to worry because you're not going to do a lot when it comes to your eyebrow look. I like also doing a little cheat code that I have, which is using a pressed powder and a bronzer just to do my eyeshadow, and it looks so amazing. So I'm gonna go in with this Maybelline pressed powder in the shade 340. This brush is the one I went in with for my concealer, and then this is more of a fluffy brush that you can use when you are doing any sort of eyeshadow work. Everything, any creases that are left, I'm just gonna blend them in. Then I'm gonna swap the brushes. Take the foundation brush, and I'm going to start just at the bottom of my eyelid, bringing it up. I like using this shade because it's like the closest to my skin. The NYX Professional Makeup Buttermelt Bronzer in the shade Butter Matcha. I'm just going to now use this shade for the end. So now that my eyeshadow is done, we're going to go in with the different types of concealers that I have. So then these are the different types of concealers that I have, and my trick when it comes to picking a concealer is more about coverage and also more about how long it takes for it to dry. Other concealers dry faster compared to others, and other concealers you need to build more into it. Normally what I like to do is apply my concealer until it's set for a while, so by the time I blend it, I'm just using the bare minimum to make the most out of it. But the concealer that I'm going to go in with is the Maybelline in the shade 40. The reason why I love putting my concealers at the end of my eyes, it can just bring up your face to give it more of like a pulled back eye look. So then let the concealer sit in a bit before I blend it out using a beauty blender or using the sponge or using a brush. I like to use either a beauty blender or the sponge because I feel like a brush just takes up all the product. So then I like to let it dry in a bit, and then I go in with my beauty blender. And with my beauty blender, I just apply a little bit of setting spray before I blend it out. Let me just put it up there. After going in with the beauty blender, I like to then use the foundation brush that I used just to blend in more around my forehead and just closer to my ears. Liquid blush and our liquid bronzer, which is our liquid concealer. It's a lip gloss, but I just love to use it as a blush. Essence Baby Got Bronzer in the shade 50 Sun Lover. This is literally my favorite part when it comes to doing my makeup because I feel like just the bronzer brings the whole face together. The structure just comes in together, so I just like to level in a little bit so that by the time I blend, it's just not messy, just a little, you know, a little dry, not too really dry, so I can have full control over it because I am using a brush when it comes to blending out my contour. And when it comes to my contour, this is the type of brush that I like using. It's very fluffy and it is more like an angled fluffy brush. And then when it comes to my nose contour, it's an angled fluffy small brush. Same thing, after blending out my bronzer, I like to go in again with my foundation brush just to smoothen out all the edges. This is my favorite part, just to bring back the demarcations on my under eyes, on my forehead, my nose, and my chin. I like to go in with more of a brightening concealer. This is a MAC concealer in the shade NC38. A lot because this is very bright. I just go in just a bit. So I'm just going to let it sit a bit and then I'm going to blend it out, and then I'm going to go in with my pressed powder. Cool. So after letting it sit a bit, I'm going to go in with my beauty blender, and I'm just going to make sure that I go directly under the eye from here till there. I don't go past this, and also I don't go further down here, down the cheek. So I make sure that it just stays in this angle, so just a triangle. So it's just going to stay in that triangle area. This is always going back just to your foundation, just to blend out the edges so nothing is left looking a bit harsh, because it is going to show once you start putting your setting powder and your pressed powder. And with this setting powder from Mr. Price, it is the Quick Face setting powder. It's almost finished and I don't know which one to go for next. I was thinking of Huda Beauty, but I'm like, girl, that is so high up in the budget. Maybe I should try something less expensive before I go to Huda Beauty. So it is literally finished, guys. I don't know what to do. I feel like crying. It's literally finished. So before I go in with my baking powder, I like to go in with my pressed powder because I don't like a flashback when it comes to taking my pictures, and I don't want to look like a ghost. I want it to look more natural as to the brightening under eye. I'm going with the pressed powder from Maybelline in the shade 340. So what I normally do is I go in with my beauty blender and I blend in my under eye, and then I'm going to go in with this beauty sponge and with a bit of product. Then this is how the sponge is going to look like, and then I just dab it at the back of my hand, go in my beauty blender and look up. So I try and look up, So the reason why I look up is to avoid creasing my under eye as I apply the powder. Then I use the rest of the pressed powder to set everywhere where I have put my concealer. Back, I'm going to go in with my powder blushes. I love me a blush. So these are the two powder blushes that I have, and also big long palettes, but these are the ones that I really like using a lot. This is Sweetie from Mr. Price. It was quite affordable. I think this was like 30 rand if I'm not mistaken. And this is MAC in Flirting with Danger. I love this MAC of Flirting with Danger, especially for night looks, for dinner dates, you know, events. It just looks so good. So right now we're gonna go with this pink, like this blush pink. And then now we're going to semi-bake. Same thing that you do, you apply the powder on the powder puff, you tap it at the back of your hand, and then you just bring it in to just brighten a bit your under eye. Right there. Before I go in with my setting spray, I like to use my pressed powder for all of my face, which is like the closest shade to my foundation. I'm gonna go in with this big fluffy brush. Bronzer in the shade Butter Matcha. This is very pigmented, so I like to just go in with a bit. Then we're gonna go in with the setting spray. So there are probably, I think, 3 or 2 different types of setting sprays. I'd rather say there are 2 different types of setting sprays. This is more of my 3-in-1 Yardley setting spray. This is more of a matte setting spray. On a more sunny, you know, really hectic day, I'd rather go in with this matte setting spray from Maybelline. But on a normal day where I'm not really going a lot and I'm not doing a lot of things, I'll go in with my Yardley London setting spray. This bronzer, it's so giving toasted look. I really like a mattifying look, so I'm going to go in again with my pressed powder from Maybelline. So now we're on the phase of the finishing touches. Therefore, I'm going to go in with my mascara from Maybelline. I just got this one and I used it normally for my bottom lashes because I normally always have lashes. And I really like it. So we're going to go in with this mascara. Are you applying your mascara if you don't have a funny face? I don't know. Are you? Second favorite part, which is the lip combo. So I'm gonna go in with this Maybelline lifter liner in the shade, I think it's 0201 Across the Line, with the lifted gloss in the shade 21 Gummy Bear.